I am the book lady, and I have two wonderful books. They're very different books. I'm going to read a history book. What do you think about that? Do you know what history is? It means the past. Like if your mother told you stories about when she was a little girl, that would be history. If your grandparents tell you stories of when they were young, that's history. It's things that happened in the past. And this particular story is about a very famous man, but I'll bet you've never heard of him. And I bet your parents haven't heard of him. His name is Irving Berlin. And I found this book at the library, and I just thought it was so interesting. I said, I want to share this with my friends on Book Lady. I think you will be interested in this book and his story. So then, very different book. I mean, is this the perfect book to read on the Book Lady or what? A Place to Read. And we will have a nice discussion about this book. All right, I'm going to start with Right On Irving Berlin by Leslie Kimmelman. And I emailed Leslie Kimmelman, and she was very excited that we were doing this on the Book Lady. All right, here we go. On a clear, cool day in September 1893, it's a long time ago, the SS Rhineland, big ship, sails into New York Harbor past the brand new Statue of Liberty, a gift of friendship from France several years earlier. The decks are crowded with people coming from many countries to live in America. Most of them are poor. Most have traveled a long, long way across the enormous ocean, hoping that life in America will be safer, better, happier. Look, over there is the Berlin family, Moses and Lena, and their 6 children. Right in front, that one's Israel. He's just 5 years old. I bet some of you are 5 years old. Soon, Israel will go by the nickname Izzy, and someday he and his marvelous music will be famous all over the world. Right now, though, he's just a tired, hungry little boy waiting to start a new life in a new country. Israel Isidore Berlin was born in 1888 in Russia. It was a bad time and place to be Jewish. Gangs of angry men rode from village to village in pogroms, destroying Jewish homes and hurting the people who lived in them. Israel's house was burned down right in front of his eyes. There was nothing left for the Berlins in Russia. The family boarded a ship and spent 11 long days at sea. Ooh, I think I would get sick. At New York's Ellis Island, the first stop for all immigrants, they went ashore. Israel's new life was about to begin. God bless America. Israel's first home was on New York City's crowded Lower East Side. That's an area of New York City. There was little room, there was little money, there was little food, but there was freedom. Israel, now called Izzy, went to school. He learned English. Still, he wasn't a very good student. He daydreams too much, complained his teachers. He sings to himself. Back in Russia, Izzy's father had been a cantor standing side by side with rabbis, singing and filling synagogues with beautiful music. So it was natural that Izzy's head, too, would be filled with music. When Izzy was 13, his father died. Izzy dropped out of school and moved out of the family apartment. There will be one less person for my mother to worry about, he thought. Imagine, 13, and he moved out. Izzy made money by, what else? Singing. He sang in saloons, he sang in the choruses of shows, he sang as he waited tables in restaurants. How would you like to have a singing waiter? Then he wrote the words to his first song. Someone else wrote the tune. It was called Marie from Sunny Italy. Izzy proudly signed the music with the new name he'd chosen for himself. Ooh, one that seemed just right for his new American life. Berlin. He earned 37 cents. That first song wasn't very good, so Irving, as he now called himself, kept writing, and he kept getting better. At first, Irving wrote just the words. Then he started making up tunes, too. He couldn't read or write music, so he hummed the tune that was in his head, and someone wrote it down for him. There were lots of tunes in Irving's head. Irving got a job working for a music publisher, and he kept thinking up new songs. Ragtime music was very popular in the early 1990s. It had a jazzy beat that made people want to get up and dance. Irving decided to give ragtime a try. Alexander's Ragtime Band. That was the name of his song. Oh, it was a smash. Irving fell in love and married. Then tragedy struck. His wife, Dorothy, got sick and died just a few months after their wedding. Irving was heartbroken. But he threw himself back into his music, writing song after song, and Irving officially became an American citizen. Oh, he loved his new country. God bless America. Nothing stopped Irving from writing songs. Not World War I. Irving was drafted into the U.S. Army and asked to write songs to make his fellow soldiers laugh and feel better. He wrote the words for a song called "Oh, How I Hate to Get Up in the Morning." It was about how miserable it was for soldiers to be woken up by the bugler so early in the morning, which was pretty funny because Irving himself had special permission to sleep late. He had told the Army that he did his best work at night, so he needed the mornings to rest. Nothing stopped Irving from writing songs. Not his new love, Ellen. Irving wrote her a song called Always. He promised his love would be for always, which turned out to be true. They had a family together and were married for more than 60 years. Irving wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote. He wrote music for plays, for movies, for friends, for strangers. He scribbled ideas on napkins and on the sleeves of his shirt. He wrote songs in elevators and in taxi cabs. He wrote songs in the bathtub. He wrote all night long. I love this picture. There he is. Nothing stopped Irving from writing Not World War II. As the United States edged closer to war again, he took out and polished up a song he'd written long ago about the land that he loved, God Bless America. It became a huge hit. Some people were angry that someone Jewish who hadn't even been born in America had written it. Irving didn't care. He gave all the money he made from God Bless America to the Boy and Girl Scouts of America. It was his way of saying thank you to the country that had given him such a good life. Isn't that something? You know this song, God Bless America. He wrote that. Soon, Irving had another hit. He told a friend, not only is White Christmas the best song I ever wrote, it's the best song anybody ever wrote. The year was 1942, and American soldiers were fighting fierce battles all around the world. When they heard White Christmas, it made them dream about home and remember all the things they were fighting for. Again, there were some who didn't think a Jewish immigrant should write a Christmas song, but most people just let the music fill their hearts. Irving was too old to fight in World War II. Still, he wanted to help. He performed his show, This is the Army, for soldiers all over the world and gave every penny it made to wartime charities. The cast was completely integrated. Black and white soldiers lived, ate, and traveled together, which was rare in those days. They refused to stay or play anywhere that didn't welcome all of them. Irving was ahead of the times. The U.S. Armed Forces didn't integrate until a few years after the war. Performing in war zones was exhausting. It was dangerous, but the millions of soldiers who saw the show loved it. It made them smile even in tough times. The war ended. Irving kept writing. He never seemed to run out of ideas. Finally, little by little, Irving slowed down. He died when he was 101 years old. 96 long years after he'd first stepped onto the shores of his beloved United States. And his music lives on. I know many of you know Irving Berlin songs, and I think it's such an important and beautiful thing that poor Irving came over on a rough 11 days to get over to the United States. And he lived in a very small apartment with his 5 brothers and sisters, his mom and dad. Then his dad dies. And they're really, really poor. So he moved out at age 13. And made a little money here and there, gave it to his mother. And he always had these ideas in his head, songs. Music was always churning around. Do you know Irving didn't even finish high school? He had to get out there, but he had a gift. He had a gift. And he knew what his gift was. It was the music. It was in his head, and he just was writing it down. He was humming it. It was singing it. And his gift allowed him to give gifts to all of America with some wonderful songs. There's a show called Annie Get Your Gun, and it has a funny song in it. Anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you. He wrote that song, and oh, so many more. And he wrote God Bless America. The bottom line is Irving Berlin came to a new country, and he loved this country because this country gave him freedom to open his gift. You know, all of you have a gift. You might not know about it yet. Maybe you haven't opened it. But you have a gift. Think about what you think your gift is. Okay, a place to read. You're going to like this one. Leigh Hodgkinson wrote this. We'll talk about it after I read it. How about that? And the pictures are just a scream. You're going to love them. A place to read. The thing is, when I want to read, what I really, really need is a place to sit. Just for a bit. Somewhere comfy, but not buzzy. And not all growly, itchy, fuzzy. Someplace brighter, without these hoots. Ooh, ooh. And no to giant stomping boots. A place, not smelly, stinky, grimy. Somewhere nice, not slippy, slimy. And I don't like soggy. Sorry, Froggy. But it can't be far. Sorry, Star. It's got to be not hot, you see. But not too cold. Whew. Or up a tree. Oh, this is way too high for me. Yeeks. Is this so very much to ask? It seems to be a mighty task. But wait. Hang on. Yes, that's it. It doesn't matter where you sit. A book is best anywhere. A book is best when you share. I think this is a wonderful book, and let me tell you why. Do you know I have it's a purse, and I hold it over my shoulder. It's got stuff in it. It has my library card, has my car keys, stuff's in it. But I often have a book in it. Because I may find myself somewhere where I like to pull that book out and I'll read it. Maybe I'm waiting at the dentist's office. It's kind of boring and I really don't want to be there and I really don't want to think about it. So, I can read my book. Or maybe I'm on a bus and it's taking me somewhere. And it's kind of a long ride and it's kind of boring. And what do? I pull out my book and I can read. So during that kind of boring time on the bus, I can learn things. I can learn about Irving Berlin. And if you're in an uncomfortable position, like you're in the car and it's a long car ride, you forget about how uncomfortable it is if you have a really good book. Yeah, it's true. So I think that really the author is telling us it's a lot more fun to just share your book. But I also think it's fun to just be alone with your book. And it doesn't matter where you want to read your book. You can go out in your backyard and sit under a tree instead of up in a tree. Maybe you want to sit on your swing set. That works. The whole idea is that you have a book. It's fun to read. Now, if you have a friend over or you have a little brother, a little sister, share your book. Why not? I think books, you know how I feel about books. They're just kind of a good way to escape all the noise out there, or you're thinking about your homework, or you're worried about a test tomorrow. Sometimes it's nice to take a little break and curl up with a book. I go to the library. I hope someday I run into one of you at the library. And I have my library card. It's very important to me. And in fact, in my wallet, it's on the top where I can just grab it. Have you got a library card? You can get one. Yeah. And so I went to the library and I saw this book about Irving Berlin, and I thought, wait a minute, I like his songs. I don't think I know about Irving Berlin. And I especially like this picture. Irving Berlin is writing his songs while he's in the bathtub. And what I learned about Irving Berlin is that he came to the United States as a 5-year-old little boy, and he's just taking it all in, and he's seeing the big skyscrapers in New York City. Oh, and the streets are so crowded, and there's lots of noise and activity. But what's going on in his head? Songs, music. You may have things going on in your head. You know, I used to have a friend named Noah. And Noah really liked video games. And he used to talk to me about them. And I'll be honest, I don't know anything about video games. I've never played a video game. But I loved hearing him talk about them. And he talked about how he would change the game if he was the creator of the game. He'd do this, or he'd do that, or he'd make it a little harder or more difficult. He had all these great ideas, and I said, Noah, I think when you get older, you might create your own video games. He said, I didn't even know I could do that. And I said, well, I think you probably could. I have no idea how you would do it. But the point was, he clearly had a gift. And right there, we started to unwrap his gift. Now, some people don't unwrap their gift for many, many years. I mean, let's think about Thomas Alva Edison. He invented the light bulb. But when he was 5 years old, he didn't invent the light bulb, but he had thoughts going on in his head. He probably was wondering, why do we have to always burn candles or lamps? That's the gift. And all of you have one. Maybe you're really good at putting together your Lego blocks. Maybe your gift is you're going to be an architect or an engineer or be in construction. Maybe you're good at making people who don't feel very good. They're sad, or they're the new kid at school and they don't have any friends, but you're good at approaching them and saying hi. So you're new in school. What's your name? That gift could, let's see, you could be a physician, a doctor, or a nurse, Or maybe you'll grow up to be a teacher because you're good at explaining things to people who don't know very much. So you think about your gift, and then think about when you might open your gift. I don't know if I have a gift. I know what I like to do, and I love to bring books to all of you. And I'm going to go to the library. I think I'm going tomorrow. And I'm going to look for 2 more books, because here on the Book Lady, we read 2 books. And boy, they were different books today, weren't they? We had Irving Berlin, who wrote God Bless America and White Christmas. And we learned about him. He lived to be 101 years old. And then we read A Place to Read. And this little guy is looking for a place to read, and he's picky, picky, picky. And then he realizes it's not the place, it's the book, it's the story. That's what's important. And it's even more fun if you share it. And guess what? I get to do that all the time, because I get to find 2 books and share them with you. Oh, isn't that fun? Maybe that's my gift. Anyway, I'm so glad that you came to join me today, and I want to remind you, be sure to find me on YouTube and tell your cousins and tell your friends and tell your aunts and uncles that the Book Lady is on YouTube, and you type in the Book Lady and you will find it right there. All the books we've ever read are right there for you. And subscribe to the Book Lady. I don't know a whole lot about computers, but I know there's some button and you hit subscribe and you can watch Book Lady for as long as I keep reading books. And I hope that I'm coming back here over and over and over again to read books to you. And get a library card if you can. You will love the library. They let you have lots of books, and then you can find a place to read. And then when you're finished with the books, you take them back so someone else can read them. I will be taking these back to my library. And until next time, I'm so glad you came to see the Book Lady. And I hope you will come back, because I will be here and we will read 2 more fabulous books. And until next time, bye-bye.